Welcome to the Trackpads podcast, your go-to destination for exploring the rich history, strategies, and leadership lessons of warfare. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast and sign up for the weekly newsletter. You can also explore more by visiting trackpads.com. The Battle of Corregidor. Envision the early hours of May 5, 1942, within the shadowed tunnels of Corregidor, a fortified island in Manila Bay. American and Filipino defenders, weary from months of bombardment, grip their rifles as the ground trembles under a barrage of Japanese artillery. Above, the sky darkens with smoke as enemy landing craft approach, signaling the imminent collapse of the Philippines' last Allied stronghold. This moment marks the beginning of a desperate two-day struggle that would test the limits of human endurance. The Battle of Corregidor unfolded over May 5th and 6th, 1942 on this rugged outpost, where 13,000 United States and Filipino troops under General Jonathan Wainwright faced an overwhelming force of 75,000 Japanese soldiers commanded by General Masaharu Homma. Positioned just 2 miles off the Bataan Peninsula, the island's strategic importance lay in its defense of Manila Bay, a vital gateway in the Pacific theater of World War II. The engagement represented the final chapter of Allied resistance in the region, a stand against a relentless foe. This conflict resonates through history as a testament to bravery overshadowed by inevitable defeat. Though the defenders held out for months, their surrender on May 6 delivered a significant victory to Japan, altering the war's early trajectory. The story that follows traces the prelude to this climactic battle, the intense fighting that defined it, and the lasting imprint it left on the global struggle. It is a narrative of sacrifice, resilience, and the high cost of resistance in the face of overwhelming odds. Historical context. To comprehend the significance of Corregidor's fall, one must first consider the broader landscape of World War II's Pacific theater in early 1942. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, unleashed a rapid campaign of conquest across Southeast Asia, toppling Allied territories from Malaya to Guam. The Philippines, a United States possession since 1898, emerged as a critical target, its strategic location threatening Japan's southward expansion toward Australia and the oil-rich Dutch East Indies. By May 1942, this island nation had become the focal point of a pivotal struggle. Corregidor stood as a natural fortress, a 2-mile-long island positioned at the entrance to Manila Bay, 26 miles southwest of Manila. Shaped like a tadpole, with cliffs rising from the sea and armed with 56 coastal artillery guns, it served as a guardian of the bay, essential for controlling maritime access to Luzon. Its capture would secure Japan's hold over the Philippines, while its defense delayed their broader Pacific ambitions. For the Allies, retaining this outpost was a matter of both practicality and pride, a bulwark against the enemy's advance. The events leading to May 5 began months earlier, with Japan's invasion of Luzon on December 8, 1941. General Douglas MacArthur, commanding 90,000 American and Filipino troops, withdrew to the Bataan Peninsula by January 1942, leaving Corregidor as a secondary stronghold. Bataan's surrender on April 9, with 76,000 troops capitulating after a grueling siege, isolated Corregidor, subjecting it to relentless Japanese air and artillery attacks. General Wainwright, assuming command after MacArthur's departure in March, prepared for a last stand with dwindling resources. Both sides viewed Corregidor through lenses of strategic necessity. Japan sought to eliminate this final obstacle to consolidate their grip on the Philippines, enabling further offensives while projecting an image of invincibility. The Allied defenders, aware of their precarious situation, aimed to prolong resistance, buying precious time for reinforcements that never arrived. Despite facing starvation and exhaustion, the disparity in their objectives underscored the dire circumstances, a well-supplied aggressor versus a beleaguered garrison clinging to hope. The forces engaged in this confrontation reflected a stark imbalance. Wainwright's 13,000 troops, comprising the United States 4th Marine Regiment, Filipino scouts, and coast artillery units, relied on aging guns and limited ammunition, their numbers diminished by disease and hunger. Homma's 75,000-strong 14th Army, supported by 300 aircraft and naval artillery, brought overwhelming firepower and fresh reserves to bear. This matchup set the stage for a battle where courage would confront an inexorable tide, with the outcome all but predetermined. The battle itself. Corregidor on May 5, 1942, stood as a scarred fortress under a shroud of humidity and smoke. Its 2-mile expanse featured rugged cliffs, a dense jungle battered by bombs, and the Malinta Tunnel, a 831-foot-long underground complex sheltering troops and wounded. 56 artillery emplacements dotted the terrain, though many lay in ruins after months of bombardment, their barrels silent amid the debris. For the 13,000 defenders and the 75,000 Japanese poised to strike, this island was a crucible of survival and conquest. The battle's prelude began with Batan's fall on April 9, shifting Japan's focus to Corregidor. Over the ensuing weeks, more than 500 air raids and artillery barrages rained down, delivering 1,500 tons of explosives that shattered batteries and morale alike. Defenders, reduced to one meal daily, maintained a defiant front with guns like Battery Geary's 12-inch mortars, firing sporadically as supplies dwindled. By May 4, the island's defenses teetered on collapse, primed for Homma's final assault. Preparations intensified on May 4 as Japan positioned its forces for the decisive blow. Artillery fire escalated, joined by low-flying sorties from 300 aircraft, while landing craft assembled off Batan's coast signaled an imminent invasion. Inside Malinta Tunnel, Wainwright's 13,000 braced, medics tending the wounded, radio operators straining for news, their resolve tempered by exhaustion. The night passed in a tense vigil, the island quaking under the weight of an approaching storm. The engagement erupted on May 5 with a punishing 16-hour bombardment that shook Corregidor to its core. 16,000 shells fell, leveling key positions like Batteries Hearn and Geary, reducing jungle cover to ash and silencing most remaining guns by evening. Defenders returned fire with what little ammunition remained, their efforts dwarfed by the Japanese onslaught from Batan's heights. At 10 at night, Homma launched his first wave, 2,000 troops of the 61st Infantry, onto North Point's beaches, initiating the ground assault. The initial clash unfolded in darkness on May 5 as the invasion hit the shore. 800 men of the 4th Marine Regiment met the Japanese at North Point, engaging in fierce hand-to-hand combat across rocky terrain. Rifles cracked, grenades burst, and shouts pierced the night, but by midnight Denver Battery fell to the attackers, securing a foothold despite heavy losses. Dawn on May 6 revealed a grim scene, half the landing force dead or wounded, yet the Japanese held ground. The advance westward gained momentum on May 6 as Japan reinforced its position. 4,000 additional troops landed at North Point and Bottomside, pushing toward Malinta Tunnel with machine guns and mortars, cutting through defenses. The remaining 12,000 defenders fought from shell craters, Battery Way's last gun firing until overrun by mid-morning. By noon, Japanese forces severed the island, isolating the tunnel and its occupants from any chance of retreat. One defining moment emerged on the night of May 5th, when the 4th Marines made their stand. 800 defenders held Monkey Point against 2,000 Japanese, a desperate line of rifles and resolve delaying the enemy's advance for critical hours. Casualties mounted, half the Marines fell, but their resistance bought time, a fleeting act of valor amid the chaos. This effort, though ultimately futile, underscored the human spirit driving the island's defense. Another critical juncture arrived on May 6, within the confines of Malinta Tunnel. General Wainwright, surrounded by 1,000 wounded and facing relentless shelling, ordered surrender at noon, broadcasting the decision as Japanese troops breached the entrances. His voice, strained over the radio, acknowledged the end, ammunition exhausted, water gone, resistance broken. This capitulation marked the battle's conclusion, a somber finale to months of defiance. Logistics painted a stark picture of the defenders' plight. Ammunition dwindled to 10% of capacity, rifles clicked empty, artillery fell silent, while food rations shrank to one meal daily, a mix of rice and desperation. Japan's arsenal, bolstered by 300 aircraft and naval guns, delivered a continuous stream of destruction, overwhelming the island's resources. The imbalance defined the struggle, a well-supplied force against a garrison pushed beyond its limits. The environment compounded the ordeal for all involved. May's oppressive heat, reaching 95 degrees with high humidity, drained strength, while dust from 1,500 tons of bombs clouded vision and clogged lungs. Steep cliffs restricted movement, beaches exposed invaders to gunfire, and Molinta's stifling air fostered exhaustion and fear. These conditions tested endurance, turning the island into a relentless adversary alongside the human foes. Certain units stood out as the battle's backbone. The 4th Marines and Battery Geary's gunners anchored the defense, their efforts etched in blood at key points like Monkey Point, while Filipino scouts held crumbling lines. Japan's 61st Infantry spearheaded the assault, relentless despite losses, driving Homma's victory forward. Each side fought with fervor, Allies for survival, Japanese for conquest, leaving their marks on Corregidor's shattered landscape. The battle's end crystallized on May 6 as resistance collapsed. The fall of Denver Battery at dawn enabled Japan's westward surge, cutting off Molinta Tunnel by mid-morning and leaving 12,000 defenders trapped. Wainwright's surrender halted a fight with no resources left, the island's 1,000 casualties a testament to its ferocity. 2 days extinguished Corregidor's defiance, reducing a symbol of resistance to rubble under Japanese control. Outcome and immediate impact. Japan secured a decisive victory at Corregidor on May 6, 1942, ending Allied resistance in the Philippines. The toll was stark: 1,000 American and Filipino troops killed or wounded, 11,000 captured, against 900 Japanese casualties from a force of 75,000. Manila Bay, once guarded by the island's 56 guns, fell into enemy hands, its strategic value fully realized. This triumph marked the completion of Japan's conquest of the archipelago, a significant milestone in their Pacific campaign. The immediate consequences reshaped the lives of those involved and the region's trajectory. 11,000 captured defenders faced a grim march to prisoner-of-war camps like O'Donnell and Cabanatuan, enduring conditions that echoed the Bataan Death March's horrors. General Wainwright, taken captive with his men, disappeared into Japanese custody, his fate uncertain to the outside world. By June, Japan solidified its hold over Luzon, transforming Manila Bay into a base for further operations. Strategically, the fall of Corregidor bolstered Japan's dominance in the Western Pacific. Homma's 14th Army gained a secure foothold, freeing resources for offensives toward New Guinea and the Solomon Islands, tightening Japan's grip on the region. The Allies, forced to retreat, shifted their defensive line to Australia, where General MacArthur began planning a counteroffensive under the shadow of his unfulfilled promise to return. This defeat marked a low point, redirecting Allied efforts southward. Public and political reactions reflected the battle's profound impact. In the United States, news of Corregidor's surrender stunned a nation still reeling from Pearl Harbor, with President Roosevelt offering no immediate comment as the loss sank in. Filipinos mourned the fall of their last bastion, their hopes dimmed by occupation, while Japanese propaganda trumpeted the victory, hailing Homma as a conqueror of the invincible West. For the captured, families waited in anguished silence, unaware of the trials ahead. The resource toll underscored the battle's asymmetry. The Allies lost not only 13,000 men, but also a critical morale anchor. Their Pacific defenses fractured, though their resolve hardened for future campaigns. Japan's 900 casualties strained an army stretched across Asia, but the prize of Manila Bay, its ports and potential oil routes, strengthened their logistical network. Corregidor's capitulation shifted the war's balance, if only temporarily, in Japan's favor. Legacy and analysis. The Battle of Corregidor carved a scar that shaped World War II's Pacific narrative. Its 5-month resistance, from December 1941 to May 1942, delayed Japan's broader advance by 6 critical months, providing the Allies time to regroup in Australia and prepare for battles like Midway. This prolonged stand influenced the eventual United States return in 1945, when Corregidor was recaptured in a fierce campaign that avenged its earlier loss. For the defenders, their endurance became a symbol of sacrifice that resonated beyond the immediate defeat. Assessing its success reveals a complex picture of valor and inevitability. Tactically, the battle ended in failure. 13,000 defenders succumbed to 75,000 attackers in 2 days. Yet their 5-month defiance inflicted a strategic cost on Japan, tying up resources and exposing vulnerabilities. The human toll was severe, with 1,000 killed or wounded, but their resistance inspired Allied morale during a dark period. Historians view it as a moral victory within a military loss, a testament to the power of holding firm against overwhelming force. The lessons from Corregidor echo in later conflicts, particularly in the realm of island warfare. Its defense tactics, fortified positions, artillery endurance, foreshadowed the bloody stands at Iwo Jima and Okinawa, where small garrisons again faced superior numbers. The battle highlighted the limits of isolated resistance, a thread connecting to modern sieges where logistics and morale often decide the outcome. It remains a study in how human determination can alter a war's pace, even in defeat. This engagement endures in military scholarship and collective memory. Institutions analyze Wainwright's leadership under duress and the 4th Marines' tenacity, while the 11,000 prisoners' survival through captivity shaped narratives of resilience. The 1,000 casualties and the fortress's fall underscore the stakes of early World War II, a chapter of grit amid collapse. Corregidor's legacy lies in its reminder that even lost battles can shift history's course. Closing. The Battle of Corregidor distills to 2 days of intense struggle that marked the end of Allied resistance in the Philippines. General Wainwright's final radio message on May 6, "We're done," captured the exhaustion and inevitability of surrender, a poignant end to a 5-month ordeal. With 1,000 defenders killed or wounded and 11,000 captured, the battle's toll reflected both the ferocity of the fight and the scale of the loss. It stands as a stark conclusion to a campaign defined by dwindling hope and unyielding spirit. This battle's significance rests in its human cost and the courage it revealed. 1,000 lives lost, 11,000 men marching into captivity, and a fortress that held out far beyond reason. It tells of soldiers enduring starvation and bombardment, their defiance buying time that altered the Pacific War's trajectory. We recall it for the lessons it imparts. Resilience can defy odds, even when victory slips away. Corregidor's silence after May 6 speaks louder than its guns, a haunting echo of sacrifice in a global struggle. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Trackpads podcast. Don't forget to check out the Trackpads online newsletter, where we take things to the next level with multimedia content. Each issue features fascinating and informative photos, videos, and articles that bring the stories of military life to you in a dynamic and engaging way. Be sure to subscribe at trackpads.com to stay informed and entertained. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the incredible world of military history and life.